The sole purpose of this video is to show you the power of Alchemy's SDK. We're gonna build an NFT marketplace from start to finish in only 30 minutes. I repeat, in only 30 minutes. End to end, from zero all the way to hero. Let's go. Time is the most valuable resource in this universe. You don't get time back. In Web3 development, we use a lot of time because we develop cutting-edge applications for tomorrow's internet. And when it comes to developing applications, time is critical. Why we're going to build a function to retrieve NFT metadata when we have a single line with Alchemy's SDK to do that for us. And I am not saying it because I don't want to code. No, totally opposite. I want to code what my application needs to do. I don't want to be dealing with coding functions, complex functions to retrieve pictures and metadata. No, our time is very valuable. And this is why we rely on powerful tools. But that's not all. But we're also gaining more value. We are gaining full visibility in the Web3 transactions. As users start using the platform, we want to see that live in action. We want to be able to gather analysis and monitoring of those transactions and the user interaction with our application, so then we can determine if we're going the right path or not, what we need to fix, what we need to improve to bring up user adoption. At the end of the day, it all summarizes into user adoption. And while I have a way of interacting with an application, you might have a way of interacting with an application that is different from the way that I use to interact with an application, right? We all have our methods. How we can bridge the gap? How can we find out that the application is doing what it's intended to do? We need visibility. There's only one way, and it's by adopting API to a platform that will facilitate this information for us. This is why we are going in this video to work with an NFT marketplace solely using Alchemy. We're gonna be using Alchemy SDK to perform all the calls to the blockchain, to perform transactions onto the blockchain, okay? Because we need to have an application that is fast, responsive, that is secure. That is very important. That is secure for you as the developer and for our end users. Enough with the talking. I am going to jump right in, and we're gonna build, again, a full-fledged NFT marketplace from start to finish in only 30 minutes. We're gonna deploy this in Polygon, but we're going to use Alchemy's SDK to do the magic. If not, we will not be able to code a full-fledged NFT marketplace in 30 minutes. Hell no. Alrighty? So let's go ahead and let's jump right in and let's see the power of Alchemy's SDK. Trust me, after this video, this little guy right here is gonna be powered with Alchemy. Okie dokie. So the first thing that we're doing in this amazing Alchemy tutorial is that we have to create an Alchemy account, or else we're not going to be able to talk to the API. So let's go ahead and build an account. So what we need to do, we need to create an account. It's very straightforward. You go under alchemy.com and we create the account. Once we create the account, we fill out all the information. We will have access on the API in which we can create the API endpoints, etc. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to log in with mine. Once we log in, once we get in the dashboard, we have the opportunity of creating the app. And what Alchemy refers about the app, this will be a Web3 interaction using Alchemy as my API endpoint. I am going to send API calls using Alchemy, okay? So what we need to do, we need to create a new app. We are going to label this, for example, NFT Market, and we will say this is our Alchemy SDK test market, okay? So we're building basically an app in Alchemy. Once you get your access, create your app, then we select basically the chain that we're going to be working with. In this case, we're going to be working with the Mumbai Testnet in Polygon. We create the application. We will have a new market application set up, ready to go. So when we hit view details, we can see all the information that we are going to be presented with. We will know how many transactions have been done in the last 24 hours. And I can go back and show you one that I'm currently working with. This one right here. I can actually see all the calls that I've been doing to the blockchain using Alchemy's SDK, which is basically a wrapper for all my Alchemy API functions. All the functions that I can use with Alchemy's API, they did an amazing wrapper and they did an SDK, and then you can just use the SDK to make your calls way more simplified for sure, okay? So with that said, we have here all the, so the amazing thing about this is that I can know exactly what function has been called in the application. If we don't have this kind of visibility, I cannot see what it's currently been triggered, okay? So let's say if I do contract metadata, so I know that an hour ago, I got a call to get metadata. An ETH call, I am calling the blockchain natively. I am not using a particular API in the SDK. I'm just using Alchemy as my provider, as my Web3 provider to interact to the blockchain, with the blockchain, okay? So after we create the app, right? So let's go back to the new app that we just built. We're gonna click View Details and we will have the View Key option. This is very important. This is our actual API key that we need to integrate into Next.js to make the calls using Alchemy. Okay, so we'll need this information. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to suggest you to basically gather all this value, all the values that we need to build the application, and we're just going to, label everything here, okay? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to say Alchemy API. This is me to document every single value that I need, okay? So I'm going to copy this, I'm going to paste this in. And now I need the API HTTP address, which is going to be this one. In order for me to interact with the Polygon Mumbai testnet, I will be using this API address, okay? So this is basically the address, and then at the end, they append the API key because this is an authenticated request. It has to be authenticated, okay? So let me go ahead and say this is my Mumbai HTTPS API, right? And then this is the address. So now I have two values. I know that I have everything ready. So then when I start building the app, I just copy and paste, okay? Cool. So we're done with that. Now, the first thing that we have to work in order for us to interact and deploy the smart contracts, it's that we need to get free tokens or test tokens in the Mumbai testnet. So we need to get some test tokens to perform the calls and also to deploy the smart contracts, because we need to deploy 4 smart contracts on this one. If you haven't seen my previous videos, I developed a full-blown NFT multi-chain marketplace build series, included how to deploy a smart contract and how to create a marketplace that people can actually upload their metadata, upload their picture, generates the NFT, and also uploads the data to IPFS. So in this case, we still have to work with those 4 smart contracts. So my idea is to build the same marketplace, but solely using Alchemy for Mumbai. So this will be strictly for Mumbai, okay? But the same principle applies to any other EVM that Alchemy supports, okay? So with that, we have this faucet that is provided by Alchemy. So we can access Mumbai faucet, and then from there, I can generate the request, and I should be able to get some test tokens to do all the testing that we need to do, okay? So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna grab my deployer wallet. So I have a wallet that I designated to be the deployer wallet. I am going to grab the address. I'm just gonna paste it in. I'm gonna send the request, and boom. Now we need to wait, and they show a very cool animation. So now we should be able to receive that 0.5 test tokens, and there we go. We just cashed that live in action. Okay, awesome. So now we got the test tokens. Now we're good to go ahead and build this amazing application. So let me go ahead. What I'm going to do, I am going to deploy the smart contracts, the 4 smart contracts that we're deploying. Number 1, we're deploying the NFT collection. Imagine if you already deploy an NFT collection and you like to create a marketplace in which users that are holding the NFTs in that collection, they can access the marketplace and sell those NFTs, okay? So this is what we're doing. We're deploying an NFT collection to assume that this is an existing NFT collection. We will, mint some NFTs so that we can play with those NFTs on the marketplace, okay? So let's do that first. And once we mint that or deploy that NFT collection, we will deploy the resell smart contract, which is a smart contract that is going to allow users to resell those NFTs, okay? Once we're done with that, we will deploy the marketplace smart contract. We will have another smart contract, but this is slightly different. This smart contract is going to allow users to create new NFTs. This is not an existing collection. This is brand new NFTs. People want to upload their own art onto the platform, mint the NFTs, and list those NFTs for sale. We are also going to deploy that smart contract. And lastly, we will deploy a 4th smart contract that basically will issue those tokens. The market smart contract, it's only going to store the transaction between selling and buying for those custom-made NFTs. The NFT create smart contract, I have the smart contract is called NFT creator. That smart contract, what it's going to do, is going to issue the actual NFT to the end user, okay? So we got the market. The market, it's only going to allow me to do that, to market the NFT, to sell it or buy it, sell it or buy it. But the actual NFT creator smart contract, that one is going to generate the actual ERC-721 tokens. Okay, good so far? Awesome. So we're deploying those 4 smart contracts. I will be providing all 4 smart contracts in the GitHub repo link in the description of this video below. Okay, all right. So let's go ahead and deploy the smart contracts. So I am going to deploy these 4 smart contracts. I already got the smart contracts ready to go. Okay. So got the first one, NFT resale, okay? So when we deploy the NFT resale, it's going to ask you for the collection smart contract because that's how we tie the collection to the resale smart contract. That's how we are going to be able to associate the resale of those NFTs, okay? Awesome, so we got 2 smart contracts. We first have to deploy the market, right? And then with the market address, we can deploy the NFT creator, okay? Boom, got the market. And finally, now I just copied the market smart contract address so that I can deploy the creator smart contract, but it's going to ask me for the market smart contract. I already need to have that deployed. Okay, awesome. So we got all 4 smart contracts. We're ready to go on that one. Next step, we need to start building the NextJS front end. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do to build that app, it's going to be npx create next app Alchemy. This will be the name, market. Okay, and it's asking me to install dependencies. It's just going to go through the process. Now we need to navigate to the folder installing dependencies. We're going to install a handful of dependencies But the most important dependency is the Alchemy SDK. Okay, so let's go ahead in alchemy.com. You go there, and then you're going to have a tab called Developers. Then we go ahead under Get Started. We click the Alchemy API, and then we can scroll here, right below the introduction. We got the SDK section. So let's click the SDK, and we should be able to see the npm install command. So let's go ahead and install it. Bring my console here, right click, paste. Okay, awesome. So we got Alchemy SDK installed. Let's install the remaining dependencies. npm ethers. We got to also install the Web3 model. npm web3 model. We are going to install the styler, or the template that we're going to use for styling. It's going to be NextUI. So what I have to do if I want to install multiple libraries, so I just type npm I, okay? And then I just do space, and I can type another thing. Canvas. This is like a cool animation, button animation. Okay, so if I click there, hit enter, I can install multiple libraries or packages at the same time. So we have to build a node, IPFS node, to allow the images upload to IPFS. So I have to create an IPFS node in this machine that I will use to send all the pictures and the metadata to be stored into IPFS. So I'm going to show you how to do that very quick. Okay. So the first thing I've got to do, I got to download IPFS. Okay. So we're going to download IPFS, and we're going to go ipfs.io and install. Let's install the desktop. Okay. We're going to install Windows. And what I'm going to do with this, I can integrate this using the IPFS HTTP client, and I can send API calls straight to IPFS. We can build this server to also be an IPFS API gateway, and I can actually send my IPFS calls straight into this particular node. This is a node in the IPFS blockchain at that point. What I'm going to do now, I have to download the command line CLI, and because I have to make some changes. I got to allow security, or I have to enable that my server can talk to the IPFS API. By default, it's not going to be allowed. So you have to enable CORS, which is a mechanism to avoid the server from being accessed by just anyone. You can actually filter source addresses to this IPFS API, and you want to do that, or else people on the internet, if this server is going to be public facing, they can hit the IPFS API, and you don't want that. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to install that, and it's called Kubo. So with Kubo, we basically do the interaction in command line. So then I can allow to be accessed by any server. But obviously, this is just demonstration testing purposes. This is not meant to be run in production. Just FYI. It's already extracted. I'm just going to copy or cut this folder. I'm going to go ahead. All right, awesome. So now what I have to do, I got to navigate to that folder. So if I type IPFS config show, what I should be able to see now is the entire JSON file that includes all the configuration in IPFS. So what we want to do here is that we want to allow the API to be reached from any address. Right now it's linked local 127.127.0.0.1. It's a linked local address on this, which means that it's only the local machine the one that can access it. However, we do want to allow every machine. So I have to change this value to be 0.0.0.0.0, which means any IP can access the API. Again, this is not good in production. It's only for testing. And then the API, I have to enable the CORS to be a wildcard that will allow any header to be accepted to interface the API. So any request from any address should be allowed to hit this machine. Okay, so let me go ahead and /IPFS let me just paste the entire thing. Hopefully, there we go. That did it actually in PowerShell. So in PowerShell will definitely work. So now let me make sure that now I have that wildcard set up. Config show / And if we scroll all the way up, we should see the API allowing, there we go. So HTTP headers, and now we got access control allow origin, okay? I'm going very quick because the idea is to get into Alchemy's SDK. So let's go ahead. So the last thing I got to do, I got to allow the server accept any particular function in API, either put, get, and post. So basically what I'm doing with this command, I will be providing this command in the GitHub, allows me to send put, get, and post requests to IPFS. We're building an IPFS API node. By the way, we're building one. So there you go. This is how you do it. Unless you have access to a public one, you can build your own one. But remember, it's your server. It has to be up, or else your files will not be pinned. If you cannot do that, it's better off to go to a third party or a private gateway like Pinata. I am going to allow all IPs to hit the API address, okay? And for some reason, it was not allowing me, but guess what? It worked through the command prompt, but still running it as if I was in PowerShell, which is very, very odd. But again, I'm gonna leave the command in GitHub so then you can run all three commands, okay? So now if we go over IPFS, config show, okay, we should now have the API 000. Awesome, perfect. Restart IPFS. So all the changes are applied. And then we can go ahead and continue with the Alchemy SDK, okay? And hopefully we get the node. It's up and running. Awesome, cool. All right, so we're good there. So now what I need to do, I got to run the server. So cd Alchemy Market ls, and then we are going to npm run dev, and we should be golden, okay? Awesome. Okay, now that we have the Next.js front end up and running, let's go ahead and let's play with Alchemy's SDK. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go under the docs. We already installed the Alchemy SDK using npm. Now let's go ahead and invoke that onto the app. So I got my Next.js index, default index up and running. So we want to start playing with the API calls so then you can see the information that we obtain. And we know once we obtain that information, then we can return that promise and store it in a var and display that in HTML. We can do all kinds of crazy things, okay? So what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna open my index file, okay? And let's just walk through the documentation, okay? So now after installing the app, we can import the SDK. So let's go ahead and do that. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just paste it right here. Awesome. And now I have to provide the API key so then I can interact with my Alchemy account. So let's go and let's copy this right here. Okay. So we're going to go back and we're just going to paste this inside home. I can actually do cool things. Let's go and work with the NFTs, okay? There's one SDK function here that allows me to get the NFTs from a particular owner account. Okay, so this one, it's Vitalik. And then display that in the console. So I'm just gonna go ahead and copy this and we'll see Vitalik's NFTs. Okay, so I'm gonna go and paste it right here. But now I have to make sure that I switch myself to the network that I'm going to be working with, right? In my case, I deployed the application in Mumbai. So let's go ahead and let me go to the market details, view key. Now let me copy the key and let me go back to index. And we're just going to replace demo here with what we want to see. Okay, so I believe now I got to do this. I got to do constant alchemy equals alchemy, and then we invoke the settings. So then this opens the SDK basically to interact with all the libraries and provides the API key and the network that we will be interacting with. I have to replace this or change this to be Mumbai or Matic, so then we can interact with that. So inside Alchemy, I'm just going to add settings, the options that we need to present so that we can do that connectivity. Now you can see that I'm effectively, interface with the Alchemy SDK. So what I'm going to do, I got to change the value to be the Mumbai. So I believe this auto completes. There we go. So yeah, so all you have to do, by the way, I just copy and paste this literally from the developer's knowledge base. So you just copy this whole thing, and you can see down here, this is how you build that new Alchemy wrapper, and then you grab all the settings and add the settings onto the SDK. And I forgot to add the new, so let me go ahead and do that real quick. New, okay. And now the network, we are just gonna type dot, and then let's go with Mumbai, okay? There you go. Now we're gonna Control S, and let's go to our browser and see what we can see. ENS resolution is only supported on Ethereum mainnet. Okay, that's fine. So let's go ahead and do this. We can just grab one of our wallets, which we will be interacting with, okay? So better yet, let me just do that. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna paste my wallet here. I'm gonna Control S, then I'm going to refresh and see what we get. There we go, we get something. Okay, this is why it's very cool. So any NFT that is inside that wallet, I'm going to obtain a promise from Alchemy's SDK with the list of tokens that that wallet is holding. And you can see something right here, even 1155s. So I can actually retrieve any type of NFT just with that single line. Did you remember, if you haven't seen my multi-chain NFT Marketplace videos, in order for me to get this, it was like 50 or 60 lines of code. Like, seriously, not joking. And literally all we had to do with Alchemy's SDK is line, and we get that information. Obviously, I got to build a loop, and I have to, find a particular condition. I need to make sure that I only get NFTs from this particular collection displayed, because that's the NFT collection that we will be interacting with. If that user has NFTs from other collections, we don't want to show those. I want to only show the ones that we will be working with. But just to get all that information properly displayed, return in the application, and then we can literally call the token IDs. I can call this promise. I can return that promise. I can return anything that I want. As a matter of fact, if I expand, I'm going to have the image path in IPFS. And what we can do, convert that to HTTPS and then display the image and do everything that we have done manually with a single line. We're getting all that information. All we have to do is just go through each individual index or value, right? And then obtain that information and render that in the front end. Now that we know that it works, what I want to do, I want to get what else do we want to see? Let me see the NFT API quick start. This is the command that we were running. If you want to know what else do I have, look at this one, get NFT metadata. So let's try that one real quick. So what I'm going to do is get NFTs metadata. So matter of fact, if I do this like NFT dot, I see all the options that I have. So let's see, floor price. Oh wow, yeah. So if it's being traded, like you can know what floor price it is. NFTs for contract. So I assume this will be for the contract. You know what? Let's go ahead and use this. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to grab the NFT collection smart contract. Let me go ahead and grab that value. I'm just going to copy this whole thing. Go back onto index. Let's paste it here. So we just replace NFTs for owner. And now it's for contract. So now I should be getting information from a particular contract. So I'm going to Control S. Let's go back. Let's check. And let me refresh. And sure enough. So yes, there's 4 NFTs, but because I actually minted 4 NFTs in that smart contract. And sure enough, those are the only NFTs that we have minted in the smart contract so far. Yeah, this looks amazing. So let me see what else can we do. And by the way, again, just go under the docs.alchemy.com, and then you can literally deploy this in no time. I am going to provide all the configurations file in the GitHub, and literally all you have to do is create the application. You log in with your account, build your application, and you can see that it's already querying because we're interacting with it. So just build your app, create the app, select your network. Obviously, if we're going to be interacting with Mumbai, then select Mumbai, and copy the key and have fun, right? So we got that. Let me see what else, and then we can move on onto the front end. Okay. So let me see what else do we got. So we saw the owner NFTs, we saw the contract NFTs, contract metadata. You know what? Let's see. This one is very, very powerful. This one, the get owners for contract, I can actually build an airdrop with this, because this single command will give me the list of holders. Seriously, in one line. Okay, Control S. Let me go back. And I already see stuff. Yeah, owners 1 because I'm the only one who bought. Oh, like with this single line, I can even get the list of owners from a particular smart contract. Like, you can skip so many effort into deploying Web3 stuff with a single liner. So there you have it. And you know what? I'm going to do the following. Let's go ahead and let's build the front end. What I'm going to do, in order for us to do this in 30 minutes, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to provision all the graphical stuff, and then we'll test the functions. You'll have all the files, so then you can just deploy this in no time. If you want to go into the entire deployment of this application, like I'm talking about the front end, the styling, all the boxes, everything, please take a look at the NFT Multi-Chain Marketplace video series. I'm going to leave the description below. And yeah, look at that one. So in order for us to do this in half an hour, I am not going to take in consideration the front end, because that itself will take half an hour, at least if I go very fast. Okay, so let's go ahead. Okay, now I have the server up and running. I did a configuration file. I'm going to show you how everything looks. So I have my configuration file. Inside the configuration file, we are importing all the contract addresses. We need to have the contract address for the NFT collection. We also need to have the resale, the market smart contract and the NFT creator smart contract. We deploy that at the beginning of the video, okay? I am also adding the API address that was provided by Alchemy when we created the app, because we need to use that address to send those API calls to do our Web3 executions, like, to mint, to sell, to buy, etc. We need to point to that API, so then we can send those calls successfully, okay? So we got that. I also deployed an IPFS node, so I can locally pin pictures and metadata up to IPFS. I am just going to leave the how-to. Is very simple. Just need to follow it in the README, okay? On the index, what we need to look for. As a matter of fact, I am going to explain to you what we're doing. We have done a portal. Portal will provide the end user a visualization of what he or she is holding on the wallet, which NFTs, and also it's going to give them the capability of reselling those NFTs. So from the portal, they should be able to resell NFTs, okay? So let's take a look at that. But first, I'm going to show you how this amazing thing works with Alchemy's SDK. I got the function Alchemy NFTs, in which we did what we did previously to gather all the NFT metadata and everything that we saw not long ago. What I'm going to do, I am going to now open Web3 model, because I still need to do that Web3 connectivity to the wallet, to my browser, right? And then we will do a normal Web3 call. We'll obtain the wallet address. We'll display the wallet in the front end and such, okay? Now, we are going to invoke Alchemy's SDK, and we will invoke get NFTs for owner. And then what is the value? It will be the connected wallet. So the wallet that connected onto the app is going to be queried, and we will look what NFTs is the wallet holding. But from that wallet, I only want to display the NFTs that I want the user, or I am going to allow the user resell in the marketplace, okay? So in this case, what I'm extracting, if you remember when we did the NFT metadata, there is going to be a value called contract address. We are retrieving that from the call, and we are comparing the contract address that shows in the Alchemy SDK output, right, or the API output, against the collection smart contract. If any NFT that the user is holding on the wallet, it's matching or is equal to the NFT collection address, display, meaning continue rendering, and then I'm going to provide all the information so then the page or Next.js can render the image and display the metadata and such, okay? Once we get the information from the call using Alchemy, I am going to obviously replace the image URL from being the IPFS to be HTTP IPFS, so then Next.js can understand and display the images in the application, okay? After that, we are going to obtain the entire metadata. How we are going to do that? Also using Alchemy's SDK. Get contract metadata, and from there I will be obtaining the name, also the image file, which is already converted into HTTPS. I'm going to be appending that, token ID, description, and the contract name, or the name of the collection. And I will be displaying that in the application, okay? Once we do that, we can then push this information out to Next.js. But that's not all. This is to obtain what NFTs can be resold because they are part of the collection smart contract. But we also want to display the NFTs that the user has created from scratch. Like using the marketplace, the user is also allowed to create new NFTs. So from that, we have another comparison. So we just finished this initial compare. You know, if this matches, then go ahead and render. Else, if the contract address that it's obtained from the get NFTs from owner call matches the creator smart contract, then also go ahead and show me those NFTs. And now we're not only going to have the NFTs from the collection that the user is holding, but also the NFTs that the user has created in the marketplace. Those are brand new. We're going to build those NFTs. We're going to do the interaction, and you're going to see how cool this is. Okay. Once we get that information, we'll be calling that into item array, because I have I have an empty array which I will use to store all that information out, so then Next.js can render this in HTML, okay? So once we're done with that, okay, if I got here, hey, a condition, this entire function, which this, by the way, is long, but it's actually checking against two different NFT collection smart contracts, okay? Not just one, it's checking against two, but it's basically the same. If you can see, this is a copy paste. So, you know, I finished checking this one at the beginning, you know, I checked the resale smart contract, check the NFT collection, and also check the marketplace smart contract. Once I'm done with all that, then I will be sending the information as a use state, so then Next.js can render that and show that on screen. At the end, I need to be able to determine if the function finished completely, so then you can start rendering everything, right? So you're going to see that. So I should get the loaded. If loaded equals loaded, then go ahead and proceed, right? So what's going to happen is going to inject, or is going to make the call to get Alchemy's NFTs. Okay, so once we're done with this, we should be able to render and display the NFTs. However, if you don't get any information, then show no NFTs have been found on the wallet. Okay, let me go ahead and open the browser. I'm going to show you, and this is how it looks like. So how it looks like, basically, you got the function that we just saw right here. This function right here is actually obtaining the NFTs from the Alchemy call and rendering the information on screen. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to change my wallet to a different wallet, and then we will do the same thing. Use wallet number 3, and I am pretty sure that there's no NFTs there. The only NFTs that have been minted are those 4. So let me go ahead and retrieve, and I should not get any NFTs. And sure enough, I don't see any NFTs, because we don't have NFTs on that wallet. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to mint. I just did this as a test, and you're going to have this on the file. So you can go ahead and test by minting a couple of NFTs. You got a maximum of 4 right here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to mint 4, or you know what? I'm going to mint 3. I'm going to mint 3, so it's different. Okay. So I'm going to click mint, and we're going to get the prompt. We'll press OK, and then once it's done, we'll go back onto the portal. As a matter of fact, I go automatically onto the portal. And you're going to see the configuration in the function. I'll show you right here while we await for the confirmation. There we go. There we go. Awesome. So we got all 3 NFTs. Perfect. Now that we have all 3 NFTs, I want to resell one of those 3 NFTs. Okay. So what we are going to do, I am going to set the price, right? So this is the price in Matic because this is Polygon, and we should be able to resell this NFT. So I am using this wallet, and you can see it right here, 63C0. I am going to set the price, right? So let me just place this to be, because I don't have too much Matic, I'm just going to put a very low value. I'm just going to say I'm going to sell this for this amount in Matic. So I'm going to press the resell. So the first thing that is going to ask me is going to say, yeah, do I have approval to transfer NFTs from your wallet? Yeah, sure. I'm going to press OK. Show you now what's going to happen. What's going to happen now, if you go back to the smart contract, the smart contract has as a listing fee, and you can modify that value. As a matter of fact, I'm going to show you real quick. So let me go on the resell. There we go, resell. If you see right here, I just applied a value of 0.00025 Ether to be the value for every listing. So in the function to list an NFT, I am going to charge a listing fee, okay? And this is what it's asking us to pay. We're going to pay it right now. Okay, we'll wait for that. Once it's done, we should see this page switching to the home page. And now we should see this NFT on the home page. And we got a confirmation. Let's wait. Boom, NFT is gone. Might take a little bit. There we go. Fast, fast, fast. So homepage is actually retrieving the information the same way that we are retrieving it with Portal. And again, you'll have this to play. Now we need to test and make sure that I can buy this NFT with another wallet. So what I'm going to do now, right, I'm going to switch myself to wallet 1. I got another wallet, and then we're going to go ahead and buy it. Let's see what happens. And you saw that amazing, cool confetti. That's the confetti library that we installed. Okay, now it's asking me for the sell buy price, which is this amount. So that's correct. Okay. So if you want to know how exactly we build the functions as far as adding the price, adding the contracts, I will strongly recommend you go over the NFT multi-chain marketplace. And sure enough, as I'm talking, we see everything working flawlessly. So what's going to happen, it's the marketplace smart contract or the resale smart contract, it's going to issue the transfer to the NFT collection smart contract. And again, if you want to know a lot more deep into this, I covered this from start to finish. It's about 5 videos, okay? But this includes every single thing. You're gonna know everything from top to bottom, how to build the functions, how to build everything. I want to show you how can we deploy this with Alchemy. And once you see the other tutorial, you're going to understand why Alchemy makes sense, because I did so many functions to do what Alchemy is doing with OneLine, to be honest, okay? One last thing that I want to do, and we'll wrap it up. So what we're going to do now, we're going to create an NFT. So this wallet has 1 NFT, okay? Now, if I switch myself to the second wallet, okay, we're going to retrieve NFTs again. I should get a refresh, and I should start seeing more NFTs. There we go. We see more NFTs now. Awesome. What I'm going to do now, I am going to create a new NFT, and we will list it for sale. This is a sample NFT. Let's build it out. This is a demo NFT. And then we'll set the price in Matic. List. There we go. And we're going to list. And let me type the password, and boom. Alrighty. So let's go ahead and create the NFT. Let's confirm. Once we get the confirmation, we should be able to pay the listing fee, because we're going to be charged a listing fee, and we should see the NFT in the front page. There we go. And we got the listing fee, which is 0.25 Matic. okay? So we have paid the listing fee. Let's wait for the confirmation and we should see the NFT listed for sale. Boom. There we go. There we go. Awesome. Awesome. So this is an NFT that was created using the marketplace. This is an NFT that was not resold. It was not part of the collection smart contract. It's a brand new NFT. Okay. Last thing I want to do, and we'll wrap it up, the same details to get the information out of the Alchemy's API. I need to use that to make the calls. In the wallet, so using on the wallet, I need to populate the private key. I am using an API file because each NextJS server includes an API that you can use to make calls. You don't want to store the API key in clear text because, again, if the client is able to see the key, then you know what's going to happen. There's ways to store this information. You can either get the information in an environment variable, and I'm going to build a video just to be dedicated into how to protect keys, or the other way is doing an API route and then getting the information out of an API call to another server. I will strongly recommend doing this way and not leaving the keys on the same machine or on the same server. We are doing basically server-side props, which is literally doing server-side rendering. It's basically telling the Next.js, hey, the client is not going to render using the browser. We are going to be rendering it using the server, which means the client is not going to have the information. It's only the server, okay? I'm going to do a video just to do this to make sure that everyone understands that it's very critical to have private keys and API keys all stored properly, okay? If you want to know how this is built from the ground up, front end, absolutely everything, I will leave the link to the NFT multi-chain NFT Marketplace training tutorial videos. It's a total of 6 videos. You can watch all of them, and this will give you everything from top to bottom. And on the next video, we are definitely going to be leveraging more Alchemy SDK because time is money. Time is money. You saw it. You saw how amazing it is to use Alchemy's SDK to do our interaction with the blockchain. Why we need to go and code lines and lines of instructions, of functions, of why we need to do so many calls when we can just do one line that returns a promise. We gather that promise, we attach the values from that promise into our vars and push those vars into HTML and display the image, display the names, display the title, display anything that you're looking for without having to code excessively. You need to focus your time and your skills in developing the solution of your application, not into pulling pictures. That's not an efficient use of your time. Alrighty? So that's it for this video. I hope you like what you saw, and I hope that you understand now why we need to interact with API to do our Web3 calls. Alchemy SDK is definitely a feasible solution. And by the way, we're also going to be working with Solana. We're going to use Alchemy, we're going to use their API to also talk to Solana. So why not? Why not use this amazing tool to help build a Solana marketplace? So that's it for this video. I hope you liked what you saw in this amazing tutorial. And if you do, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed to. Hey, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye.